driven by creativity at every level, whether it be programming, I mean obviously art and design, producing, because nobody quite knows what the future is, and it's all about having bright ideas. It's all about, you know, if you're a programmer, it's all about having a, you know, somebody says, can we do this? And your immediate, the people that I love working with, their initial idea is, God, that would be great, I wonder. And even if later they come back and say, no, I can't. It's this initial idea of, yes, that would be great, I buy into that. And if you do come into the industry, please be yes people rather than no people, because it's the yes people that will change the world, not the no people. My advice to you in the various disciplines would be, if you want to be a programmer, please have good maths. Because, and if you don't have good maths, or if you've got mediocre maths, then really seriously think about, you know, polishing up your maths. Because the industry is a very competitive place to be, and we can only afford, you know, really top quality people, and programming it is about maths. And certainly as employers, you know, if we have somebody who is really talented at maths, we believe that they can learn to program very quickly. If they're a programmer that doesn't have maths, then there are limitations. That having been said, one of my partners has no maths whatsoever, and he's an absolutely brilliant programmer. So it's a very broad comment. Likewise, if you're an artist, please, if at all possible, get some sort of classical background. Certainly, you know, if you can draw a hand, then you can learn 3D. There are an awful lot of people who can do 3D who you know, are very useful as artists, but they're not artists. They can create meshes and polygons, and they can create textures, and they get them off, you know, textures off the net and apply them. The very best artists are the ones that actually have a classical background. They understand about composition and form. They can draw, not necessarily, but they understand about complementary colours. They understand about framing images. They understand all of that stuff. So if you want to be an artist in the industry, then if at all possible, I'd really recommend that you try and get some sort of classical background if you don't have one already. Hope that makes sense. If you're into game design, then it's very difficult to find a way in. And the irony is, of course, that as a developer, we need game designers all the time. But linking people who are bright and passionate with people, developers who need those, is actually quite hard. And certainly I would recommend that going into journalism and going through retail is very good, because, you know, in both of those disciplines you learn to work very hard, but you also get to see an awful lot of games, and particularly in retail you get to understand what people are saying about them, and in journalism you get to see what your readers are saying about them, and it puts you in a really strong position to get a big picture of what's actually going on. And as a developer, those people are incredibly valuable because they bring in a new perspective. Audio is also difficult. I would recommend that if you're into game design or audio, that your first step to try and work for a big company. So many people try and set up their own companies, and sometimes they're successful, but normally they're not. Learn your skill with a large company. And there are plenty of excellent companies in Yorkshire. I assume most of you from Yorkshire, whether it be, you know, Team 17 over in Wakefield, or Sumo down in Sheffield. I mean, or Tuna in Sheffield. I mean, there are lots of really good developers that are absolutely at the forefront in the world in their particular disciplines, and you will learn an awful lot from them. So I'm sorry that that's not being enormously specific, but hopefully for those of you who do have an interest, that gives you some sort of direction. Okay, fantastic timing. I said I'd finish at 1:45 and take some questions. So as I say,